Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hello, Vicky. How are you? Thank you for joining me here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Charlene Madrid, and I am here on the design team with Picket Fence Studios, and I go live most Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Central. I make a fun project, give you my tips and tricks, and answer any questions you have. And sometimes I lose my words. That's me. So thank you for joining me. Hi, Bonnie. How is everyone for my fellow friends here in America? I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I was not here last Tuesday because everybody came down with a cold over Thanksgiving, and it was one of those really yucky colds where I didn't think you wanted to see me blowing my nose every 30 seconds and losing my voice. So I'm back again, and I'm excited. I am going to be doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that today. Good morning, Arlette. Good morning, Karen. Oh, yay. Everybody's popping in here. So I'm going to take you down here to my desk. Vicky, you had a good Thanksgiving. That's good to hear. All right. I don't know why, but the comments are coming across absolutely huge. So if I miss comments, that's why. But let's get started. So here we have the You're on the Way Up stamps and dies. I used a sentiment from this a couple weeks ago, but now we're going to actually use the fun, pretty, so pretty. This was designed by Kelly Taylor. She always does some beautiful floral stuff. And then we're going to be using these, finally, the Beyond Basics A2 Vintage Rectangles and Cover Plate dies. I'm going to show you what these look like. Such a fun decal edge on these, so I'm excited to use that. And then some mixed media. Yay, we're going to be using On a Cloudy Day 6x8 stencil. So let's just jump in, right? What are we waiting for? We'll grab our stencil and have a piece of blue cardstock. You could obviously ink blend your own piece or spray it with sprays, or do whatever makes your crafty little heart feel happy. So you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing if you want to try and recreate this card. And I'm just gonna find a spot here that I like. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna come in with some low tack tape. I'm taping this to a piece of copy paper, and I do this a lot of different ways. Sometimes I put it on copy paper. Sometimes I put it on our cool paper inking palettes when I'm doing a mixed media kind of style background, and adding some of our paper Glaze Luxe. But today I wanted to do it on copy paper. That's I'm gonna grab a mixed media spatula here, and we're using Arctic Fox today, which, if you don't know me, this is like my all-time favorite paper Glaze Luxe. It's kind of perfect. Just saying, it's kind of perfect. All right, I'm gonna open it up. I have added I have a big jar that whenever this little jar gets low, I add from the big jar into this. So I added some yesterday. So I've got a little bit here kind of on my mixed media spatula, and I'm just gonna bring it along. Well, I don't want my stencil to lift. Bring it along the top here. And this, if you're not familiar with the paper Glaze Luxe, is like chock full of glitter. So if you hear that scratching sound, that is the glittery goodness that is in this. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit more here, put it where I need to, so we can fill in all of our pretty clouds. Now, the reason I like Arctic Fox so much, you guys, is because it dries opaque, a solid white. So it is perfect for doing clouds or different things like that. And you can ink blend over it and it will pick up the color from ink blending on the top of it, or pouncing with your pouncers. So now that I've got everything kind of covered here, I'm going to start by trying to smooth it out a little bit. I usually try to stick with just one direction with my spatula. Not always successful at that. So on this, I'm coming down from the top. But I think on the bottom here, I might actually come in from the side. There we go. And these are clouds, right? So they don't need to be perfectly smooth. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist slash control freak. But don't let me influence you. So I'm going to scrape off that extra there. Get it back in the jar. I've got my soapy water dish over here. Yay me. I remembered to do it. And then I'm going to just grab a baby wipe. You could also use a cloth or a paper towel or whatever you got. And I'm just going to grab one real quick here because it's really important to wipe off the edges of your jar when you are closing it. That helps to ensure that when you close it again, it gets a nice seal on it. And also, what I like to do to prolong the life of my pastes is I have just some distilled water here, and I will just spray a couple of times over the top. Then when I mix it up for next time, you won't even be able to tell. So we'll seal that. And take our stencil off, which is always my favorite part. I just love taking the stencil off. Let's see. So let's take maybe the tape off on this side. Come on. Gimme. There we go. Just stick that out of the way there. And now we get to see our pretty clouds. Ah, love that. Look how cool. See how they're solid white? Love Arctic Fox. So I'll put my stencil now and my water bath over here. If you were here last time I used a stencil, I got a new, you saw that I got a new little tub for my water, which it is working out wonderfully, by the way, in case anybody is wondering. And I'm super happy with it. So I'm gonna lift this up really careful. You could just let it dry like that and not move it. I tend to prefer to lift it up because then I'm gonna have edges that I don't have to kind of clean off. So I'm gonna put this, hey Sue. And yes, Vicky, the wide rubber bands, those work too as well, definitely. Isn't that cool? All right, I'm going to set this aside, let this dry. And then we're going to come in and we're going to do some stamping. Right, Arlette? I know, the reveal is always the best part. It's like magical. It makes my little crafty heart happy. So let's pull these out here, and you can see in this set there's one large balloon with florals. There's another medium-sized balloon with florals that go across this way, and then there is one small hot air balloon. Two different clouds. We've got a couple of stars, and then some sentiments that go really well on your way up. Let your dreams take flight. Hello, friend. Congratulations, and so proud of you. So this is a really reasonably priced set too, and I like that you could do like just this one on the front of a card, these two on a card, these two on a card, or you could do like multiples of the small hot air balloon. So there's lots of different options with this set, which is nice. We're going to stamp out the large one and the small one. Let's grab, well, we'll use my mini Misty today. And we're going to grab a piece of smooth white cardstock. This is Spectrum Noir cardstock. Make sure I don't have any gunky goobers or anything on there. And then we're going to grab our stamps. Those would be helpful, right? And stamp these. Did anybody travel for Thanksgiving? We did not. We stayed home. My oldest son came home from college, so that was nice to see him. He was home for the weekend. And amazingly, somehow, I think he managed to stay well and did not catch whatever disgusting germ fest my younger children brought home. So that was good. And we had a pretty low-key, relaxed day. Had some pie. Had some turkey. I know there's a lot of people that aren't actually a fan of turkey, but I love turkey. I look forward to turkey every year at Thanksgiving. Okay, we're gonna stamp this. I'm using some black hybrid ink. And then I'm gonna stamp a second time just to make sure everything is nice and saturated in that lovely black. So it's nice and bold. There we go. That looks good. Yay! Isn't that a pretty stamp? So pretty. Okay, close this up. Oh my, Arlette, I'm super jelly. That's nice. What state are you in, Arlette? In Colorado, when we lived there, we would see them sometimes. We did see them. I'm kicking myself now that we live in Washington. We never went to the giant balloon festival in New Mexico, which is like a 4-hour drive from where we were. And we never went, so, you know, don't put things off, you guys. Don't put them off. Because then all of a sudden, you can't go for whatever reason. Okay, come on, Charlene. Get it together, girl. My hands are like super dry. Does that happen to any of you guys during the winter? They get so dry. I have to put tons and tons of lotion on them all day long before I go to bed, and they still crack, which is super annoying. Okay, we're gonna do some coloring. Oh, Oregon and wine country. Nice. Lovely. We went to Walla Walla, Washington wine country last summer. Was it last summer? I think it was last summer. And it was really quite a lovely, lovely time. All right, I am going to color this hot air balloon pink. Now, you could just use one kind of color combo, right? All the way for the whole balloon. But if you want to take it up a notch, what you can do is you can use 2 different kind of sets of colors. So I want this to be pink. So for alternating stripes, I'm going to do RV 1.5 and RV 1.3. And then the next stripe, I'm going to do RV 0.4 and RV 0.2. These are really close on the Olo color wheel, but one's more of a pink and one's more into the like pinky purple side of things. So it looks very nice together. So I'll start with my RV 1.5 and let us zoom you guys in so you can see here a little better, hopefully. How's that? Hopefully I didn't make anybody sick doing that. Okay, for the balloon coloring, what I like to do, because each of these little seams, right, the air kind of like poofs out of them. So I'm going to put my shading along the edge just a little bit. I'm going to put a little shade line, not very much, along the edge inset from each side. Do you see that? So that when we go lighter in the center is going to help create the illusion that it is convex. I think concave is going in and convex is going out. It's been a long time since I've scienced. Next, you want to, keeping with that same color, you're going to add any of your more kind of like standard shading, right? So we're going to bring up some shading from behind the bottom here and a little bit of shading from the top. Then I can go into my 1.3 and run it right along the edges of those areas that we use the darker color. And then once I'm happy with it, I'm going to do one little swoop right across the center. So it'll stay the lightest in the center. We're going to add a little bit of highlight probably. If I have time, I'll show you how to do it with colored pencil, which just takes it up a notch. A white colored pencil, you guys, is awesome. So have I told you my hot air balloon story? I don't think I have. So I'll tell you. And if you've already heard it, you can hear it again. Now I'm going to do the RV 0.4 and then go RV 0.2, kind of same concept, right? We're going to do a thin little line along the edge on both sides. And then we will add our standard sort of shading. So for my husband's birthday, I think maybe. No, it must have been for Christmas. I think it was for Christmas. I bought a hot air balloon tickets for us. And I did it as a surprise. I didn't tell him what we were doing. I just told him he had to get up at like, I don't know, it was the crack of dawn. It was like, we had to get up at like 4 a.m. to get where we needed to be in order for the liftoff. And we get there and he was like so excited, and then they canceled it. They ended up having to cancel it because of the wind. I was so sad. So we rescheduled and did the whole process all over again, and they canceled again because they can only fly in like ideal weather conditions. And apparently I have terrible luck picking time. Oh, darn it, picking times to fly. So we never actually got to go on our hot air balloon ride. It's very sad. I tried twice. I considered trying again, but it just didn't ever happen. So that's my sad hot air balloon story. And you can see my marker decided to go crazy. That's okay. We'll figure it out. I can work around it. We'll make it work. So now I'm going to bring in the lighter color here. And same thing, blend that out. One final little swipe in the center, right? And since I have this marker out, I'm just going ahead and I'm doing like every other, I don't know what you would call it, stripe, I guess. I don't know why this marker decided to be wonky. Thanks a lot, marker. You normally are just fine. I swear, you guys, it like seems to only happen when I am live. It's like the marker gods know that I'm going to be coloring, and they decide to mess with me. Now it is a little bit trickier up here where you have all of this pretty kind of stuff going on to see exactly where. Good grief. Why are you doing that? See exactly where. I'm going to let this sit for a minute, guys, while we do the other one, because something's going on with that marker. It's not wanting to cooperate. And I'm dropping lids. Happy Tuesday. So let me find which side's my dark. RB 1.5. Okay. But yeah, I forgot where I was going with stuff, but we never tried again. I still want to. I think it would be really fun to do the wine country hot air balloons, because we have them here in Washington too. So maybe someday I'll try that. So edges, and then our normal kind of shading, and then we're gonna work out those colors, and then do one final little light stripe in there. So do you see how these are different shades of pink? And when it dries, it's gonna look really cool. So we'll do this one. Coming in here and finding our little, oh, I know what I was talking about. Sometimes it can be hard to figure out exactly where your shading should go. And especially when you're working with a set where there is a big floral on top of something. So of course you have all of these little pretty leaves and different things kind of going everywhere. My rule of thumb is I try not to stress out about it too much. And if I end up coloring something that's not supposed to be colored, most of the time people won't even notice, because there is a lot going on. And so they'll just look at it and it'll all look pretty. And it's only if they're kind of like staring at it, right, for an extended period of time, that they might see that you accidentally colored a particular thing that was supposed to be green, like a leaf, and you colored it pink. And most of the time people aren't going to notice stuff like that. So that's my advice, is to try not to stress out about it too much. Because the last thing you want to do is recolor an entire image that you just spent a bunch of time coloring because you accidentally colored a leaf the wrong color. Yeah, just let it go. It's no big deal. Now, it looks like there's a stripe here, and then maybe that's part of the greenery right there. It's kind of hard to tell. So I'm going to come in here with the dark. And I think I'm just going to take it all the way, because this is a pretty small space on the edge. And I'm going to try and not color any of the leaves. I think I was successful. There we go. Okay, let's go back. Let's see how we're doing now on the other one, now that it's sat there. We're going to come in with our 0.4. Come in along the edges here, all the way up. And we're going to have a little bit more of the 0.4 on this one, because in these areas that are like behind the leaves and everything, that would all really be shadowed anyway. Because the giant flower, this is right? If this was a real sized hot air balloon, this would be one heck of a giant flower on it. You know, the balloons in New Mexico I was talking about that we never went and saw, the big balloon festival. I always liked looking to see the amazing decorations they would do. I would go and, go on their Facebook page or whatever. And So hot tip, you guys saw, I let it sit for a little while and then it was fine. So if your marker is being not so very nice to you, and you can just let it sit for a little bit and it will be fine. I'm going to come back in here because there's a couple of little spots I think that are supposed to be pink up there. And then also in here, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm using the right pink right now, but it really honestly does not matter because it'll all just kind of blend in together once we're done. Okay. That I think I am fairly happy with. I might bring my, where's my 0.2? 0.2 around here again and help blend this out a little bit more on this one. And we might go over this one more time. There, now I'm happier. So that wasn't too bad to color our balloon, right? 0.2, 0.4, 1.5, and 1.3. Okay. Next, my plan here was to color all of the florals in yellows. Now this is a small flower and it's also very detailed. So you could spend a lot of time messing around with like getting in there and getting your shadows just perfect and all of that. But really what I'm going to do is pretty basic coloring. Same kind of thing I've told you guys about before, but just not as detailed, I guess. So for this floral here, we're going to, well, let's start with this one up here. For this floral here, anywhere towards the bottom kind of like bases of the petals, I'm going to bring in Y 2.3. And this is a dark yellow. And so I'm just going to kind of come in here and flick it around a little bit. Nothing too wild. And we'll go make sure we got all of them. And then the other thing I'm going to do is anything that would be like an edge of a petal, I'm going to go ahead and color dark as well. Kind of where the petal like flips up or flips over. I'm coloring with that dark color. And then in here towards the center, I colored dark as well. And I think that'll do it. Now I'll come in with my Y 2.0. I'm using a pretty drastic shift. I'm going from like a dark to a light. I'm not using a medium. And that's really just because of the size of these florals. So I'm bringing this in now and I'm swiping into the dark. So that'll help blend those two together without losing that dark line at the bottom that we have from where we added the shading. And so this will give our flower, even though it's a small little flower, it'll still give us some really nice looking shading. And I'm going to kind of focus a little bit here on the areas where my pink went wild and help to push that ink out of there. Now I'll come back in with the Y 2.3 and I'm going to do the same thing on this one, just adding that dark color to anywhere where it is at a base of a petal or it's the flipped over area of the petal. And this will help, it just helps to kind of break up your florals. And then I'm gonna color this part right here and it's gonna take it to an orange because I'm adding the dark there. And once it dries a little bit, I'll do it again. And that's gonna help to push out and kind of blend out that pink color where we had the blob. So that way it's not as noticeable. And I'll come in with my light, going into the areas where we added the dark. Pulling the light down into it so it gets nice and happy blendy. Yes, happy blendy is a technical term. I'm going over that blobby part again. And now I can see, this is what I was talking about. So now I can see I missed a little bit of what's supposed to be hot air balloon right there. There, that looks better. And I'll do the same now for our third set of, or our third floral. Just gonna bring that dark in at the base of any petals and anywhere we have a flip over. Now normally you guys know I like to spend the time, especially when I'm working with a larger floral, I will go in and I will shade around anything that's overlapping, so that way you can get that natural look from that. I'm not going to do that really with this floral because it is so small. Most of that detail kind of work like that would get lost. It just wouldn't be worth the time, in my opinion, to do it on a small floral like this. And you could just even just color this all one color and not do any shading, and it would look lovely. So we'll come in here with our light now and pull it into our dark areas. And sometimes that helps me see areas where I need the dark to be, like on the edges of these petals here that I missed. Oop. There we go, there we go. Okay, our florals are colored, and now I'm able to see two other little spots where I missed the pink, which is so handy. I'm gonna bring back in my RV 1.5, color right there. And something I like to do, especially if it's a set that I use frequently, is I will color an image and then I will keep it with the stamp packaging. So that way if I come back, 3 months, 6 months later, whatever it is, and I decide that I want to color with that stamp again, I can look to that as sort of a reference to like quickly see how it looks colored and remind myself of, oh, okay, I need X, Y, and Z, or I don't want to miss this spot of the balloon. So that's something else you can do. So here we have some nice florals here. They're really starting to come together. They'll look nicer even once it dries and has a chance to blend out a little bit more. I'm gonna come in with my greens right now in order to do our leaves, and that's really going to help it pop. Got some YG 1.4 and YG 1.6. I'm gonna color all the leaves using these two greens. Like you could, if you wanted to, do, a bunch of different kind of things with these, but that to me, it's a lot of extra work. But more power to you. If that's you want to relax and spend a bunch of time coloring, you could easily pull in a bunch of different colors. So I've got the YG 1.6 and I'm just pulling it out from the base of the leaves and kind of towards the center a little bit, depending on the leaf, I might add a little bit, like here, I think really this should have shading all the way down it. So you see how I added a line under the bottom. But that mostly comes from like a lot of experience coloring. And then YG 1.4, I'm going to just, did I get the, I thought it was looking really light. Apparently I put the wrong lids on these when I put them back. So let's try that again. This is actually YG 1.6. So we're going to do that over again. You can tell that is a very commonly used color for me for leaves. There's my second lesson for the day. Don't be like me. Check your colors before you put your lids back on them. Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay, now we'll bring in the 1.4 and we will just pull it up and into our darker green to help blend those lighter areas. That was too funny. I was sitting here talking and looking at it and I was like, oh, that looks kind of light for a 1.6. And it was. Okay. So for the other little bitty leaves, you could also treat these as florals if you wanted to and color them in color. I really wanted the focus on this balloon to be on the pink and yellow. So I didn't want there to be any additional colors, but it would look really pretty if you did this in like a orange with this color combo. So I'm just coloring those in. I think I found another piece of balloon right there that I missed. So we will color that. And I think there's another little smidgen of balloon there and there that I missed. So we'll color that as well. But see how that greenery really helped the flowers to kind of build out there? And what do I want? I'm going to grab my 0.4 here. And I'll just color in these little bits. And it doesn't even really matter. I'm not sure if that's the actual pink that stripe was supposed to have or not, but like I said, it won't be too terribly noticeable. For our, let's see, 1.6. Haha. Checking our lids. So good. Yay. Hey Amy. How are you? It's been, did you just get here? It's been a bit of a mess. But we're working our way through it. Okay, we're gonna make our basket orange. Our hot air balloon baskets orange? No, not usually. They're usually brown. But it's my card and I will color it however I want, and my hot air balloon basket's gonna be orange. And no one can tell me different. So you saw I flicked out from the left and the right, and then I'm just going back and forth in the center here with my 2.3. I used 2.5 and 2.3. And that's going to give you kind of an illusion of that there's something to that basket, that it's not just some square floating around in space. And then we're going to grab our cool gray here. We're going to use some CG1. And I'm going to pull it in from the side and a little bit from that side. And that's going to give us our nice little metal. It's not actually, I think that's actually supposed to also be part of the balloon, but I wanted a different color to help kind of break that up, right? And oh, Victoria, you've been putting the wrong lid on. Yeah, like what? Come on. So lastly, I'm going to bring in, what color is it? YG 1.2. I know this sounds weird, but I'm going to color my center of my yellow floral with the green. Now that is not something I think most people think to do, but very often the centers of florals will have green in them. So it helps sort of break apart that color so it's not so, I don't know the word I'm looking for, just so stagnant, I guess. I don't think that's the right word, but I think you guys probably understand what I'm saying there. Now, if I had all the time in the world and I was not on a live, I would go back over everything because that's how I am, and it helps everything to blend out so much more nicely when you go back over everything, just doing the same exact thing. But we're not going to do that. I'm not going to keep you guys here for a million years, but mostly ignoring our orange blob, which is going to fade out a little bit. Here is our pretty colored hot air balloon. And I'm not going to color the other one because look what I've done. I have pre-done, yay, some colored images. So I stuck with that same orange with this one, and you can see it just gives us a nice contrast. And you can see with this one being dry, you can see the how different those yellows look. So the Y 2.0 does dry back quite a bit, our lighter Y, and looks really nice. The other thing I did, which can be kind of hard to tell here, but once I die cut it, do you see how this white area is a different color? That's because I colored it. So I came in because I wanted it to match our background, and I used some B 2.0. And I colored all this white area, and then I colored along the edges all the way around of the die cut. So this is going to make it look seamless with our background, and we're not going to see a big block of white here. Really easy way to help your die cuts look like they're part of your scene. And then I did the same thing with this little guy here. I did add two extra die cuts on the back of this because I wanted this one to have a little bit of dimension. All right, let's zoom you back out here. I'm going slow, y'all. Hopefully it is acceptable. Okay, let's take a water break. I think it's a good time for a water break. I already drank all my coffee this morning. So I'll bring it back with our pretty piece here. Now this is already pretty much dry. I would wait though, if you're going to die cut something, I would give it at least like an hour or two. You want it to be fully dry before you're die cutting it, just because you could run into an issue where it tears your paper, and you don't want to do that. So I went ahead and pre-made one because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of stuff today. So that way, through the magic of camera and smart thinking, we'll just magically see, oh, there's the die cut one. Yay. And I die cut this using the new vintage rectangle and cover plate dies, which are super cool. We came out with a set a couple of releases ago. I don't remember exactly now. I think it was 2 releases ago that had just your straight kind of standard rectangle edge, which I love these. They're really nice, high quality, thick metal, so they don't bend when you stick them through the die cutting machine, which is so nice because I have some rectangle dies that tend to bend, and then I don't get a perfect rectangle, which is really frustrating. And that set came with a bunch of cover plate dies. So does this one. But before I even get there, look at these, you guys. Decal edge rectangles. So this is kind of like amazing. This makes me happy. So happy. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're all graduated in size by, I believe, about a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. And they're all kind of jumbled together right now, so it's hard to show on camera. But yeah, there we go. So you can see they just go a little bit. And so it's nice because you can do a really thin matte layer with a thin border going around that's just a 1/16 of an inch, which I think looks so classy. I love it. And then it has these 3 cover plate dies, which I wanted to show you. And so I went ahead and just cut these out of white cardstock so you could see. So this first one is this cool like stripey pattern. And I thought it would look really cool to do this in 2 different colors, right? And then you could inset the other color inside of it. So you could do one in like white and blue, and then inset the blue stripes and same vice versa, and have 2 backgrounds. And it wouldn't be too hard to inset these because this holds together pretty well. So that's this one. And then this guy gives you a nice brick impression. So it's subtle. It's subtle, right? It's not like super wild like a 3D embossing folder or something, but it creates just a nice little texture. Can you see that on the background? So this is a nice kind of evergreen piece. And then this one is really fun because it gives you a stone wall kind of look. So you could use this for a background, or you could cut this down and use it literally as a stone like fence or something in your cards, which I thought was really fun. But it just, again, just gives you that nice little texture to use on the background of a card. Now, I probably wouldn't put a hot air balloon on top of it, but you can see, just to give you a sense. So super cool set. Definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't. I think it's very useful, and I especially really love that decal edge. So let me show you a close-up of the decal edge here. Get these out of the way. And then the nice thing too, what I do is I like to keep like extras of things back here. So if I'm like, how would that look? I can pull it out and just do a test run, right? And then decide if I want to use that on a particular card. So this one, I did the decal edge on, and then I also cut the next largest one from white cardstock. And so you can see, isn't that fun? Gives you this fun little edge to it. I don't know what to tell you. It's just really neat. I really like it. Makes me happy. It's something different, but it's still very classy looking. It's like it's vintagey. Hence the name, right, Charlene? And so here's a card base, and you can see with this on it, this is going to have a nice bit of layering to it and just give a really fun look to it. So let's go ahead and put our card together. We're right on time. Since I went ahead and did that other stuff a little bit ahead of time, we are looking good. So I'll grab my glue. How's everybody doing in the comments? Good? Any questions? I know I kind of went off on a side thing, but I really wanted to show you guys all the different parts of that die set, because sometimes it's hard to tell from a website, or online, what is special about something. So since I knew I was going to be using it today, I wanted to show you. So I've got some glue on there, and then I'll just lay this down and until I'm happy with how the border looks. The other nice thing about a decal edge is that it's a little bit more forgiving in terms of, like, if it's not perfectly lined up, it's not, man, this is like the struggle bus live, you guys. But if it's not perfectly lined up, it's not as noticeable. There we go. Okay, we got it on there. And then, and you see it die cut like beautifully, right, with the stenciled piece. So now we'll add some glue to the back of this one. And put it on our card base. Try and get this centered as best we can anyway. That looks pretty good. Now I'll bring in acrylic block just for a minute. Have that, because it is a little bit, it's a little bit warpy from the mixed media, but not bad, just a tiny bit. I chose to stamp and die cut the "You're on the way up" sentiment, and I did cut out 2 extra already, and I put them back behind there so we can have a little bit of loft on our sentiment. Not very much so, because I forgot to mention, I usually mention this at the beginning of the live, but I am going to be giving away this card at the end of live. So if you would like some happy mail potentially, make sure you leave a comment, say hello, let us know where you're from. I will just randomly pick someone from the comments, and you could, if I pick you, you could have some happy mail. It's always fun to get mail. If you're in Canada, it might be a little bit because of the postal strike. Sorry, guys. Okay. So do that now before I forget. Now, look at this. Look. How cute. How cute is that? Super cute. So let's figure out our placement. I think I want this like this. Oh yeah. That looks so good. Okay. I'm just going to tweak around with it for a little bit because I want it to be nicely balanced. I feel like maybe this could come up a little bit and maybe come over just a bit. And of course, remember, you don't have to be as picky as me, but I'm kind of picky. I think that looks pretty good, pretty balanced there. What do you guys think? You could add foam tape if you wanted to, because I'm going to be mailing this and potentially mailing it internationally, because it is open to people internationally, right? I'm not going to add any foam tape on here just to make it a little bit easier to mail. And let's drop this down kind of right about here. I feel like is good. Yeah. So do you see, the other thing I was going to show you is that I purposely did not add a bunch of shading to this small balloon. This small balloon's kind of just mostly one and done. I added a little bit of shading to the bottom there, but not much. And that's because I wanted to emphasize the fact that this balloon is farther away. It's off in the distance. you're not going to really be able to see a bunch of the shading that's on it if it's off in the distance. Certainly not to the same degree that you would see the shading on a piece that was much closer to you. I'm going to push this down just slightly. I think right about there. Yeah, because I didn't want it to be chopped at a weird spot. I thought, actually, now that I say that, I kind of like it better up here. Picky, picky. Okay. Stop messing with it, Charlene. It's fine. Just can't help myself. There. So I'm going to add my glue to the back of this. And so you can see now, that's why I added a couple layers on the back here, especially because I wasn't using foam tape. I just wanted to make sure that it had enough sort of pop on it that it wasn't going to get lost on the card. I think kind of like right here looks good. Is it centered? I think it is. Well, it was until I started messing with it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So I'll come in and put our acrylic block on top, let this dry for a little bit, and Sue, you're funny. All right, who wants a card, guys? Let's move this somewhere out of the way. And there we go. Here is our finished card. Isn't that fun? You get the sparkle. There we go. Now you can see it, the sparkle and kind of the texture from the clouds. Really pretty. And you can see on this one, I did get a little bit of stuff where I didn't want it, but this one came out, I think, a little better. Love it. But we have that nice shading that we did. We've got the nice color family going on here because we colored with the blue. It's blending into our blue background. And if you wanted to, you could add some sequins or gems or something like that. I don't know that I will, because we've got a fair amount of sparkly goodness on here just with the Arctic Fox. Let me switch you over here to my face, as Amy says. Welcome to my face. If you're still here, Amy, that always cracks me up. And I am going to pick someone. Ready? Okay, here we go. I'm going to close my eyes and we're just going to scroll through. We're going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. What are we on? Sue, I ended up scrolling all the way down. Congratulations, Sue. This card will be on the way in the mail to you. If you would like it, just send me an email at contact@dreamcraftcreate.com and let me know you would like it and send me your address. Okay? Whew. We did it. It's 11 o'clock. Another Tuesday in the books, my friends. I hope that you are all having a wonderful morning and that you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, the rest of your week. And I should be back here next Tuesday again at 12 o'clock Central. So definitely be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll get notified. Also would love it if you liked and shared this live. That always makes the YouTube very happy. And also, if you're interested in anything I used today, definitely check out the description or in the comments. The supply list is pinned. You can find it there and shop through those. Those are affiliate links, so I do earn a small commission, but it is very helpful, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you. I will see you then. Bye.